Hello everyone and welcome to the Groop webinar. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Tim and I'm the Sales Solution Consultant here at Groop, and today I'm going to be showing you the Groop platform. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to add them below as there is a live chat and I'll answer them all at the end of the session. Groop is a social tech company that offers a cloud-based system of support for clubs, groups, projects and events of any kind and anywhere. It's a really easy to use admin system that takes all the hassle out of the back end of running a group or club. Groop not only suits independent clubs or groups, but because of our full circle offering, this means that umbrella bodies who are responsible for hundreds or maybe thousands of clubs or projects are able to gather consistent data and communicate through their hierarchies. We're a team of experts from areas such as youth, sport, education, charities and the voluntary sector who brought technology in to solve a problem. During today's webinar, I'm going to be covering the Customisable Fields section and all you need to know around it, how to create them and how to integrate them into your database. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and log in. And once I've logged in, I am now actually in my group. From here, I'm actually going to head across to the navigation bar, and at the bottom of the screen you can see Customisable Fields. This is the area I'm going to go to first. In here, we can see that at the moment there isn't much data within and around my Customisable Fields section, and you can see at the top that I've got two different options, one of which for user and the other one for events, which I'll come on to a little bit later on in this video. But first of all, we're going to start looking at creating a customizable field for our users, for our people's database. And the reason we might do this is that in the people's section, and when you're filling out that form for all of the information that you might need to know, if there is maybe an area that it doesn't cover, I can come into my customizable fields area and actually create and customize that specific area itself. The way I'm going to do that is actually click Create New Custom Field area. Once I'm in here, I can actually now create a specific field for myself to fill in as an administrator. I can actually go ahead and create this data. The first customizable area that I'm going to add is going to be along the lines of DBS. Once I'm happy with that, I can now create a new field. And in here, for this DBS one, it might be that I want to have a, for example, a certificate. If I could spell that correctly, that would be perfect. And the way that I'm going to use this is that the field type that I'm going to create is actually a file upload. So I want the individual to be able to upload a certificate of their DBS onto the software. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to click Create, and that now should create my new custom area. Once it's done that, I might want to add actually another field, which could be, for example, the expiry date of this certificate, at which point, again, from the field type I can actually select a number of different options. The one for this specific one being an expiry date, I'm going to choose my date and time picker, and then once I'm happy with that, create the new field. Again, once I've created these, it means that when I jump into the people's database and go to create or maybe edit an individual, I can actually use these specific custom fields that I'm creating. Another one that I might want to add could be, for example, maybe kit information. And once I'm happy with the title, I can go ahead and create my new custom field. The custom field in this case, I might want to add football boot shoe size, for example. And again, I can choose the specific field type that I want to have that associated with. So in this case, because we're doing size, a number probably works best. Again, once I'm happy with that, I can create the field and it then populates it into my sort of growing database of customizable fields areas. Again, I can actually create another one, which might be, in this instance, kit sizes. I'll go with kit size for now. And the area that I'm going to use for this is actually going to be a select option. In this case, it might be small. I can add a new choice, which could be medium. And then again, once I'm happy, I can then put large. And again, if I could spell correctly, that would be really useful. And again, once I'm happy with these options that I've selected, I can now create that field. I'm going to do this for a couple of other options as well, in terms of creating a new field for maybe extra data that I might want to add. Again, if there isn't a field or box which may be populated in our people's field, this is the area to come and do so. So in this case, I'm going to put in extra info, which again might not be in the sort of usable areas that are already provided. And again, I'm going to come into here and maybe do, for example, days available. And again, from here, I can actually come in and use a multiple select. What I'm going to do here is actually add in all the days of the week nice and quickly. Add another choice. And finally, good old Sunday. And again, once I'm happy with this, I can actually start to build a bit of an area for me to complete and populate this data. Again, I can create that field once I'm happy with it. And again, these are just some examples that I'm using today for this demonstration, but it might be that you want to use these or similar, and it's just showing you the different possibilities that you have within the creating customizable fields section. Another one, for example, might be membership IDs. And in here, I'm actually going to choose a text area for this one. The text and text area are for sort of writing and being able to put in possible notes against it. The text one is more of a smaller area, and the text area is a much more sort of larger box where you can pop in as much data as you like. But for this instance, because it's a membership ID, a text box will be just fine. Again, once I'm happy with this and I've created my new custom field, we can start to see that I'm populating my customizable fields area here. What I'm actually going to go ahead and do now is jump into the people's database, and once I've done this, I'm going to go in and actually create a new user. Obviously you can see that I've got a bit of a database already of individuals here, which is all sort of my made up fake data, and from here I can actually come in and create a new person. When I'm in here, obviously I'm going to populate it with as much or as little detail that I want to put against the individual as possible. So first name, last names, maybe an email address if I want the individual to be having access to the platform. And from here at the bottom of the page, you should now see all of our customizable fields that we have now created. So for example, the DBS, which is my customizable field where I can actually upload a file, and I can come on and click choose file and actually be able to upload that specific DBS certificate and then add it to the person's profile. Again, it might be that I'm looking to pop in the expiry date of this, so it could be at some point next year. I can pop in, say for example, the actual expiry date. The kit information, football boot size, it might be that in this case I'm an 11.5, and I can actually choose my kit size, which is a large, and from here I can just start to populate all of my sort of data and additional information that I have sort of started to gather, and one of which being obviously my extra information, my days available. I'm going to pop in these ones so far, and again it might be the membership ID. I can pop in my ID number, which is, for example, that, and then once I'm happy I can create this user and I can actually attach this information to the individual, or again it might be those that I'm looking to edit and actually add this specific information to. For example, if I'm to jump in and change Barry here, if I go in and edit him, once I head to the bottom of the page, I've got all of those pieces of information where I can actually pop in specific pieces of information against the individual. It might be certain areas that I want to fill in, specifics, and again, once I'm happy with this, I can actually update the user and then it will be attached against their profile. Another area of the customizable fields section is that if you are potentially looking at applying this data to individuals, rather than sort of sitting there having to input it as your sort of sat along doing one at a time, maybe sending out specifics, I can actually come into, again, Barry, for example, and actually edit Barry, but this time I'm actually going to submit sections to the individual. And obviously I've got all the ones that are or have already been created, the standard areas that come with the software, but at the bottom of the page I've also got the additional areas that I have now created, and I can get the individuals to actually fill these out for me. So it might be that I want to select all of these and then send that out to the individual or to maybe a mass of individuals and actually gather that data from them. So rather than myself having to sit here and populate that, I can actually send these specific areas that we have just created to the individuals to actually fill out themselves. So that is the customizable field section for the people, and I'm actually going to just jump back in here and look at the event side of things as well. The events is very similar to the people. Obviously this is now actually being created for the event itself. So again, if I go ahead and create a new custom field, this one I'm going to populate with the data for example, additional info is perfect for a title for myself. I'm going to then create a new field, which in this case it might be the title of that is going to be my session plan, which I can upload because I've taken a photo of it. I've got a file ready to upload to this specific event, project or activity that I'm running. Again, create that new field once I'm happy with it. And again, it might be that I want to pop in some more additional information. So any new players, and again I can then pop in the numbers of those people that have turned up, how many people we had turn up that were new from running this new session, this activity, a project perhaps. And in here I'm also going to add in maybe an accident form. Ooh. And again, that might be my specific file upload. Something's happened on the day, and I can then upload this against the activity or session that has been created. Again, once I'm happy with that information, I can head over to the event section and actually come into here and create a new event. And upon doing that, I now have the ability to actually obviously create my event, the specific details, event name, start dates and times, specific description, maybe the location, and at the top you'll notice I've got a couple of additional tabs. Obviously I've got my sort of 4 standard ones, which are my sort of details, plan, invited and evaluation, but you'll also notice that I have now a customizable fields area. This will only show if you have created specific customizable fields for the events, and if I come into here it should actually give me all of my specific customizable fields that I've just created. So I'm going to go ahead and click onto that. You can now see that I've got my session plan available to upload that specific file. Any new players, in this case because I chose a number picker, I can come across to the right hand side and actually specifically click in how many new players, new participants we had during this activity and the session that we're holding, and then I can also upload an accident form against this event or session if I need to. And once I'm happy, I can create, or if I do already have an activity or session in sort of play, I can actually update this as well, maybe at the end of the event or session itself. So these are the sort of customizable field areas that we're able to create for the people and events. We can also go back into the people section and actually filter this column down. So for example, I believe earlier I popped a couple of pieces of information against Barry, and I can come into here and actually at the bottom of the columns list, I can actually select which days he's available, his membership ID number, and once I have got all that information and I've populated it, and it might be that other people have put in their own information, I can export this out via a CSV. I can also filter for it via maybe the specific filter that I've created for maybe days available, membership IDs, and I can filter all of that information, and it's exactly the same in the event section as well. So hopefully this has given you a bit more of an insight into the customizable field section and how it is all used. I will just quickly double check to make sure that we haven't had any questions come in throughout the session, but if there aren't, it's been a pleasure and we will catch you in the next webinar. Thank you very much.